We made it, yeah.
Yes. So this is not the live one, is it?
Yes, it is.
This is the live
We are
one.
now live because it's 1 o'clock.
No, no, but this is the one that starts on. If you go in the.
Yes.
Wel ja. Ik wil graag een IELTS niet. Is dat? Oh, lekker zitten nog. You were? That's why I got the name David. Oh! David. Take him all the way.
So for me to watch you, young man, I'm on NBC.
YouTube. So you have to go to the NEMBC YouTube. So youtube.com.
So you obviously do the Dutch program? Yes.
One word or?
Yeah.
Oh, you
One word.
I'm
YouTube.com.
tired now. I've been around too
One
long.
word, you say?
Oh,
Jesus. Sorry.
No.
well, I know already. I do it for.
Slash. Forward slash. THE. Yeah. NEMBC.
What's happened here?
Just click start slideshow. Yes.
Pretty cramped.
Is it working? Ah, yeah.
Yes.
The NEMBC. Yeah. Then.
Then you follow us and then one Facebook followers only.
Yeah. So now it's not live. Just you can so you can just
So as soon as you okay, so shall I send it to Facebook now?
yeah. Jeffrey, are you doing the blog or? I think yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. It's really started because you have that one pops up. Okay, so just watch. Yeah, all you do is just sit down and watch. So this is your channel. Yeah. Just watch the keyboards. And if you need to use a laptop, you can just open a new tab or whatever. Okay. And just move it wherever. It's a bit. First, you have to loosen it first. You know how to use it. Tripod, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just move it.
Are you using it? You doing the blog?
Yeah, I can do it.
So
Rooms and things are set.
So it's actually now live. This one tells you the number of viewers. This one tells you how many people watch. And once you finish,
On stage. Jeffrey, are you good at this if me or Andrew have any difficulties? We will. We're both novices. We're good at speaking, but the technology leaves us a bit short.
Yeah,
I believe Harry will be
Excellent.
right.
We're relying on you guys.
Yeah.
Me and technology will not get on.
Yeah. Enemies.
Enemies, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so just
Yeah,
click
cool.
end stream and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then the next session, I believe it's back at the room, so just bring our laptop back.
Yeah. Why do people ask questions?
You can just tell it.
Okay. Right, I got it. I'll go down. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, you're faithful, son. You don't keep these lovely people waiting too long. Sorry? You don't keep these lovely people waiting too long.
Yeah, we're used to going slow and taking it easy. We're not necessarily always on time. Well, I better go. I've lost my glasses. Everyone okay?
Yeah.
Start now. Happening in the social media area, particularly around defamation, and I've had a great talk with Stephen about this because there's lots of grey area around it, and there's lots of the potential. And I want to facilitate this because my interest is not to scare people with the legal aspects of what defamation is regarding social media, but at the same time, you know, we need the realities of it when we can define it and look at it and see what's there. That's really, really important. So this is almost like a workshop that we need to keep rolling on and keep in contact with Stephen about, because I think the outcomes of this hopefully will be the start of developing strategy. So I want us to not live in the fear of defamation, that if you do something, not live in the fear of defamation, that if you do something, it's don't do it. Rather, let's do it, find out what's there, be knowledgeable about it. And so Stephen's our knowledgeable person. And I've also asked Andrew to come from 5EBI because he's breaking all the rules. He's going to show you how to do something. Is President here from 5EBI? No.
I'm the vice
Your manager? Okay, so if he's here, you might get shut down with what you're doing. So we've got these two sides that we want to develop strategies around it. So I haven't introduced myself, but I think you know me. I'm Russell. Morning. And I just wanted to introduce Stephen Brown. So thank you.
Thank you for coming this afternoon. All right, very quickly about myself. So Russell said I've got knowledge, so hopefully I've got knowledge on you this afternoon. So I've been a lawyer for 22 years. I practice in the area of commercial advisory and commercial litigation. So this afternoon, this session, we're talking about social media and copyright. So we're going to look at the use of social media and how you need to protect yourself from breaching copyright laws when using it. And then the next session that I'm conducting is on defamation. Because this is an ecumenical group, I'll give you a little bit of my background. So on my father's side, we actually, one of his cousins have traced us back to the First Fleet. So have been...
They're horrible.
All right, so there's a bit of heavy content this afternoon, but before we do, I'd like to keep it a little bit light, and I know you've had a big morning of speakers, so we're going to do a bit of a straw poll because we're going to look at a few stats on social media. So who in the room has looked at it more than once? Could you keep your hand in the air? More than once? Could you keep your hand in the air? Times? More than 6? All right. This is just some little goodies to keep you through the session. And there's more, so if you ask a good question or you make a good comment, I've got a bag full of Linen Brown logo jelly beans in there for you to get your hands on. Okay. All right, so we're going to look at stats on social media. We're going to look at a bit of a definition of what copyright is. So that'll be a bit heavy, but we need to understand what it is before we can look at it. What you can do to protect yourself from it, some of the defences, if someone says you've copyrighted that maybe you haven't, and we'll look at some high-profile cases that have got some hopefully a bit of juicy content to keep it interesting. Okay, so some social media stats. Oh, we went past. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so as you can see from that stat, we're not unusual. So 80% of Australians, this is from a census survey, so census, people that run Yellow Pages and a lot of other media marketing. They did this survey this year, so this is Australians. This year, this is what we're doing with social media. So 80%, 8 out of 10 of us are actually on social media, and that's up. So you need to know about it. Okay, 60% access it every day, and over a third of the people check it over 5 times a day. So we've not had their hand up for over 5 times a day. No, nearly a third of the people that are on it are actually on it 5 times a day. And you know, we know now that it's not just looking at Facebook that it was 10 years ago. There's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's LinkedIn, there's Google Plus, there's Flickr, there's SoundCloud. There's so many different ones now as well. And if you're trying to keep up with multiple ones of those, it's very more than a few times a day. When do people do it? So in the evening, 71% of people are doing it in the evening, and that's up from previous years, and also first thing in the morning, and that's up significantly. So from 49% to 57% of the people are using social media in the morning now. Almost half, and then 11%. We know that people are accessing it through this, and that's why they might go out, and as they're walking out of the building to grab some lunch, or as they're sitting in the cafe, they're on it. As they're waiting for their coffee, they're okay, so that's a bit of an idea about when. As an employer, I love this one here, so the 20 people are doing it. You can see. But you can see, what surprised me is only 18% of people do it for commuting. So what that tells me, how many people here are from Perth? Yeah, okay, half of you. Perth people don't like public transport. When they're driving their car, they're not doing it. So that's down. I'm surprised, you know, when I do catch public transport in and out of the city, that everyone is on a screen. You know, you very rarely see someone with a book. You never see someone looking at you and wanting to make a conversation with you. Yeah, so the ones that are right, so Instagram has increased from 31% to 46%, Snapchat up 22% to 40%, so that's the biggest rider. I don't do Snapchat, but I've got a 13-year-old that has just started Snapchatting. We didn't let him use social media till he turned 13, but you know, Instagram and Snapchat is what the young ones are really doing. So it's important for you with your broadcasting to know your audience, know what their demographics are, because that's where you're going to find them on social media. The user now, so important that you understand what you're or you're going to be able to make contact with them through social media. So Facebook is still by far the most popular social media use Facebook. I probably don't use it as much, but they might use it, or the big account, but they're on other things. So that's just a bit of the stats there across the major social media platforms, the percentage of people that are on social media that actually then utilise it. Bit of an idea of age. So we can see that we're at 80%, and this is helped by the younger demographic, and then it starts to slide. But we'll see this start to change as well. I'm sure in coming years. This is an interesting one for you that are running effectively some sense of a business through. 24% of people use social media to follow brands or businesses, higher in females, and particularly the highest age group of this 30 to 39-year-olds that are following brands. So your broadcast, they will follow it. So effectively, you develop a brand and a business around your program, and these people will, a lot of people will actually follow what you're posting, and use that as a way of keeping in contact and feeling part of that. I went to a presentation earlier in the year, and one of the presenters talked about that one of the integral things that humans want is they want to feel part of something, and a lot of people don't get that now in a tribal or a family setting, so they get it through social media, and they feel part of something, and that they follow a brand or a business and get connected to it. So have the last stat up there. Yeah, we're using it through our smartphones, up from 72 to 81%. Okay, so just goes to more how important it is that 64% of consumers are more likely to trust a brand if they can interact with it on social media. So if you're not on social media, it doesn't help them to develop a trust relationship with you. So in the past, trust was developed by eyeballing someone and having a conversation and developing a connection. People can now develop trust with you through connecting with you on social media. Enough about your stations, but do you have commercial advertising on them? No commercial advertising whatsoever. Okay, this will be completely irrelevant to you because what that's just telling you is businesses actually want to advertise on social media. What a lot of people are.
We have a form of promotion called sponsorship.
Yeah,
effectively the same.
Right. So your sponsors would love to see you with some of the packaging and proposals you can put to them is that we'll put some of your material on our social media pages and package that up with when we're, because then to connect to your orders and develop that trust, because they're connecting with them, and the ability to then perhaps have them to then your audience to follow them on social media. That'll be a useful tool for you to utilise when talking to sponsors about an extra add-on that you can provide to. Okay, we're going to get down to some of the legal content.
Before you go there, crowdsourcing or crowdfunding sites, are they considered social media, like GoFundMe and the like?
No. I wouldn't consider them to be social media.
Okay.
They're unique in and of themselves in what they do. And a lot of the things that we're talking about today will be relevant to them, because some people are posting and putting information up there.
I just wanted to clarify if it was or wasn't.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes.
Before you move away from the stats, I was going to ask you where the stats from and what sort of numbers do they involve, because percentages usually depend on the main numbers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so that census used to do, their big thing was yellow pages, but they do a lot of other digital marketing, and they moved fairly early into that space. So they did the survey this year from Australia. I don't know what the pool that they actually surveyed, sorry. But if you go online, that is a very small snapshot of it. there is a mass-produced one in relation, a massive report in relation to consumers, and then another report that they produce in relation to business. Yes. So because you comment, don't have that sort of an interaction. But yeah, I was surprised to not see it. Yeah.
So Steve, if you support, say, sponsors on your Facebook, if you're on Facebook, what the implication there if, like Facebook, they need to charge because they're doing some advertising, aren't they?
No.
No?
So it depends how you, if you're just posting it as a Facebook post from your
Advertising sponsor.
yeah. Well, I
So
mean,
that's okay.
we post 3 times a week about my business for my page, and we don't. And then every now and again we might do something where we promote it, so we pay Facebook some money so that it comes up more often and gets into more feeds, and that feed of the people that either are following us or someone that followed us and liked it. If I wanted to get out there to more people, then I pay Facebook. But other than that, if you're just posting it on your page and you've got a good following,
How do you pay people? How do you pay Facebook?
How do we
Do you
pay
get in
Facebook?
touch with them? Do you
Yeah,
email them? Do you
yeah. So we did it online.
do it online?
Yeah, and we did. Yeah, I think just comes out of it's just paid on credit card, so it's pretty simple. But as we said before, I don't do that. I have someone that does that for me.
I know.
I see. But I think they just did it all online.
Cool.
Okay, so what I'm talking about this afternoon is relevant to all of you because Australian copyright law is national law, so it's actually the federal piece of legislation. Living in the Northern Territory, Tasmania, suburbs of near South Sydney, or here in Perth CBD. It is exactly the same. Everyone has the exclusive right to use, share material with the public and to profit from that. It's not the actual idea or the thought. You have no copyright in an idea. So if I come up with a great concept or an idea, I have no copyright. What's in my head at the moment, I can't copyright. But as soon as I start to speak it to you, or I write it down, or I sing it, or I create a piece of music from it, or I make a movie, or I broadcast a radio program, right? So it's the actual material form that creates it, but the actual thought itself is not copyright protected. And it's usually the author or the creator that has the copyright content, but sometimes it might be, or sometimes it is that they will sell the license. You know, you hear about go back to the sort of the 50s and 60s, a lot of musicians were really badly treated because they didn't understand, they signed up rights to make records in relation to their music, and a lot of people made a lot of money off them, and then once they got enough money, they spent a lot of money buying back the rights to their own music. So you can sell your rights to copyright and so on. But it originally subsists in either the creator or the...
What about when students, they do research and they need quotes from different books and so on, and they say the quote is from the following book, is that copyright? Then can the main person who has written the book or the author?
No. So there is, we'll look at some of the in a thing called fair dealing, and one of them is using something for education. So I've put all of this information up here from this census report, and that wasn't mine, that was graphics that they created, but because I'm using it for educational purposes today, I'm not breaching copyright law. You have things to go with copyright. Suggesting that they came up with the idea or concept, they reference it. So one of the important things if you're using someone else's material or information is that you reference that I've got this from this person, they're the actual creator of it, and the copyright exists in that person. just using depending on how you, to what extent you're using it, you'll need to get actual approval and possibly a license to do so. So that's some of the things that you need copyright protection for. I think they're all fairly obvious.
Can you explain, when you say get copyright protection, isn't he published a book? If you published a book, isn't it automatic? Aren't you automatically covered? You don't. You
No, yeah, there's no registration. We don't have a copyright. It's not like a patent or a trademark or something like that. And they're protected. That's correct. You don't need to actually register or take any steps in that regard to seek protection, like you do for a trademark or to patent a invention or something like that.
Some object.
That's actually department that. Okay, so this is, I suppose, the one. Yeah, but
Very quickly, if you write a grant and you got the original words for your grant, and the next person cuts and pastes your grant, is that breach of your copyright?
most likely. Yeah, depends on how they've used it. If they've used it for profitable gain and not, then they probably have breached your copyright.
What can you do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, you can prosecute them. So the first thing usually is a letter to say of the use of my copyrighted material, and then it's a question of if they do cease, then it's a question of did you suffer any monetary damage? Do you want to pursue it further? And I spend half my life talking people out of suing people because it is so expensive. It's not a rewarding way to resolve a dispute in the majority of circumstances from my 22 years experience. So I would generally talk people out of it, but there are circumstances where the monetary damages are significant and therefore might be worthwhile. If they don't stop, the other remedy them to stop. So you can go to court and get an order, what we call a mandatory injunction, which will order someone to do something, and that would be to stop continuing to breach your copyright. Okay. Breathing of a broadcast is, you've got the copyright in that. When you start to put copyright protected product in that live streaming on some social media, you need to have a license that protects you. Now, what I understand from the conversations I had with Russell before today is that your organisation will have the license for you to play music on the radio, but you may not. So there's so the licenses, and we'll get to it in a bit, are through an organisation, APRA-AMCOP, and I'll explain to you what that is in a bit. But you can get a license that is either just to play it on the radio. You can get a license that allows you to play it on the radio and through. You can get us lets you stream on social media. So, the ones that I listen to some things off the ABC, and a lot of the things that they go and then they step and they put on a podcast. Almost all of that. One of the ones that I enjoy is Dr. Carl, and Dr. Carl's podcast. They cut all the music out of it because they've obviously Triple J have decided that they won't pay extra for the license for that. Whereas some podcasts I might listen to that might be about music have music in them, and they've then just gone, okay, well, elect on this occasion we're going to pay a license fee to put that music through that medium. Because generally the license that I understand that you probably have is licensed to put it on the radio. It doesn't mean you can't put it through social media, you just need to get a license to do it. There's no, and you'll be able to do it, there's no problem with doing it, but it just needs to be properly licensed. A bit of an example, and there was fines everywhere that went on associated with that because they had no license to actually put it out on medium. And so a lot of it.
So
Yeah, so just
Speaking of that sort of thing, like radio, like when you're live streaming your radio program and you've got music playing, Facebook tends to, like we've got a couple of people that do it at our radio station, and Facebook keeps banning them and cutting it out. Is it actually fine worthy if they are doing that because we're streaming music, but even though the music's played through the radio?
Yeah, so it's the fact you've got a license on to broadcast it on the radio. That makes it even more tricky. I think that the copyright would subsist in your station. It would be akin to that type of relationship, but they might have had to sign something. Yes, most definitely.
I wonder just because of the timing.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if a lot of the questions that are being asked, when you, if I don't.
Yeah.
Well, she's doing cutting edge things, and then you'll be able to say,
Yeah, okay.
using
Let's do that.
Andrew as the funnel for the answers to the questions, because the questions you're asking, you just listen to that you do your quick introduction of yourself, but from a board member from Egyptian community, been involved with a whole range of things. But one of the most cutting edge things he's doing with his program on social media using the equipment that's on there. I'll let him explain.
I don't know whether I should start after what
equipment that's on there. I'll let him explain.
I don't know whether I should start after what I'm the vice chair at the radio station 5EBI in Adelaide, board member, and I do main one, obviously, the Egyptian program. And that's the one that we do put on Facebook or live or stream. So I'll just correct one thing. One of the, if we're streaming, we probably, it's 100% correct without, the only time that we break probably the rules is the video, but 70%, not more. Having said that, I'll explain it in 2 seconds, and I'll be quick, I guess. I was me and technology will get on, but I was showing that. Okay, that's me, the radio station, and now our purpose was I would do a program. So you put it, normally we put it on radio, and people would listen to it if it's 2 o'clock or 7 at night or whatever. But we wanted to improve. So we wanted people who didn't have the time to listen to us live is to listen to us later or to go and watch us on Facebook or whatever. So our aim is to entertain the listeners and songs, and we keep in touch with our motherland through news and interviews and all that. That's basically, and give, of course, accurate and I don't know how you want to do that, but accurate and reliable news, and that's very important. Initially, our program was the only format and was transmitted to the social medias through Facebook and SoundCloud and YouTube. I found a lot of trouble with YouTube, so don't do YouTube anymore. We do Facebook and SoundCloud. I'm a member of SoundCloud, as I said to Stephen before. We pay fees every year, so we're okay there. Now, we did it on 3 stages, and here I've got the equipment that we do use. The best way to do it is I did a lot of research. So with our mobile, if you go to how many minutes have I got? Because I can make it quickly and just going there. Because I just want to.
Can you do it in 5?
If this is your the table that we have, and this is your 3 guests, and this is the host. What we do, we put a camera here, and basically I'll put my phone there. And the phone is filming me or the guests, but he's taking the sound from the speakers on top of on the roof, because I cannot take it from the studio outlet, which goes to our of course, the sound is not the best that way. So reason is our phones don't have a recorder to take it direct from there to the phone. So we had to buy this little gadget, which we put it between here.
Is it a microphone?
That one?
A microphone?
It's like a recorder, but
Okay.
it will, when it goes in there, it will record it in there. So instead of taking it from the speaker, what you transmit on air. So you get that one, you put it here, and then you connect it to the phone. You get a perfect sound, which you listen to it on. It's about $150. But because the phone hasn't got a recorder in it. Now, having said that, when we started to do this, so we were filming live on Facebook, but we found a problem. When we're recording and then we put the camera on the host or the guest, it was good. But you put a song and then the camera is still filming and then we're talking, having a drink, whatever. Oh, we don't drink. So it wasn't a good thing. So we decided to put a picture or something and just put the camera on it. Then we thought, no, we'll go something better than that. So we went to into the this one and we tried to get a song. So that right now, what was the next step is to go live. So we'll get the host and then we'll get the speakers or the guests. And then when we go to the song, this is where we come into strife sometimes. We download the song with the singer. We've got a special machine here. And we go from me, say, if I was talking and I'll say, we've got a song now. So you get the song and you look at the singer as well. If I recorded a, say, like we met the ambassador of Egypt and he came to the studio and we recorded like about half an hour with him. So we go and put it on there and we can put that live and so they can see sound and video. And this is where we came to it. So we bought 3 cameras. And how that work quickly is, sorry, Russell, just a couple of minutes. This little machine connects to my computer and my computer becomes a panel. So I have camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and this one is the song that we are going to put in it, right? So all I've got in here, my software is, I've got all the song lines up here, and all I have to do is put the song in there, waiting to transmit live. So all these cameras are waiting. So I press that one, I go to camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and then, but I have to bring it here to be able to transmit live. It's very complicated, and it's not the cheapest way to do it, of course, because something like that is, before we ended buying the cameras. After some research, well, we can read that yourself, Facebook. I'm trying to make it quicker.
So
Do you have the video? Do you have the actual video of your show?
I have.
Can you play?
I could.
Yeah.
On
your Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
normal so it's the normal vocal. So the other vocal is 5 for the size of the vocal. I can use that one as well.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be. Any computer, you can work it. I'll talk to you after. It's interesting stuff.
So what's your Facebook? What's UAD?
Andrews, ANDRAWOS.
Yes. Okay.
Bear with me 2 seconds. coming. Go to the song. I'll start the program. We go to the song.
So the camera's shooting in the studio.
So there the cameras are there. So we move from one camera to the other. It's a video.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's the cameras.
But that could be YouTube.
I would have to say,
That's great.
particularly, so there's a license for the song, but particularly showing the video. So anyone who goes onto YouTube, you know, you go onto YouTube and sometimes you watch something and then you go back there a week later and it's been shut down.
Yeah.
It's because they put it up there and they didn't have.
Well, they do ask me
to put it up there. And YouTube, and I think you might have said something before about YouTube. YouTube more than anyone else do. So Facebook, there is so much content on there. So it's very hard
Facebook, I
to
agree with this young lady because they always ask me the same question.
Yes.
We are going to mute this song unless you've got, do you mute it? And I say yes. And then it goes, recently, we got a very good singer in Egypt. She's a very good friend of mine and I use her songs a lot. And she's given me permission, so it didn't matter. So if I put her songs, I just say yes.
Yeah.
But having said that, there's
They
other.
may be liable for copyright as well, for broadcasting your copyright.
And this is. I had the privilege before to speak to Steve 5 minutes before we started, and I asked the question, how do we do it? I would like to pay. I would like to know who to pay, who to speak to, because it's not going to be a huge amount of money. But the finished product is great if we can get it to work.
Yes. Well, I'll jump through some of mine, but there's a slide. Just do that. Damage. Just very quickly, what really important is each of the social medias have their different rules. Check what their rules are. Some of them suggest that you retain ownership of your own copyright, which is what Twitter says, but Facebook seems to suggest otherwise, that once you put it on their site, that's in relation to what you put onto their site. So just be careful. Each of them have different set of rules as to how they treat the copyright in front. So the creator of the content of it, by publishing it onto their site, they may, because of the rules, take ownership.
Is that right?
Yeah. If you sign up to it, that's the rules. They can do it because you've agreed to it. You've clicked somewhere along the way, agreeing to their rules, and therefore effectively contracted with them, handing over your copyright.
But I used to buy these songs from my show that we supposed to be rights for that. So what issues is still happening? We have to get the license from Facebook?
No, not from Facebook. So your license is, let's get to the slide.
But doesn't matter if you have your copyright with your songs, it's still happening. So what is the problem there?
To show you this. One of the guys did this for me. Apparently I've got to drag this onto a secondary screen. Oh, there it is, yes. Guys, can you help me? How we get them instead of how to see the mouse on the screen from the computer.
Yeah. So this which will take it off, take it back on again. Take your finger off. Oh, you had to, then it goes back off. Okay.
I'll try to explain it. So,
I'll keep trying. You explain it.
okay, so there's two forms of licenses here. So APRA AMCOS is the organisation in Australia, but they have 100,000 artists that currently signed up, and they have international agreements with other international organisations for artists. So you can have you get two licenses. One from them which gives you copyright in the song, so it gives you the right to a license to put the song out there. And there's different types of licenses. One license that actually gives you the right to put it onto your radio, others that give you rights to put it through other mediums. The other one is PPCA, and that is the copyright in the actual recording of itself. So to visualize this, John Lennon wrote a song, and then an Australian band played that song, and they paid a license to John Lennon to play it, and they give him royalties for it. But they've got, so copyright in the actual recording is in the band that recorded it, and there's also copyright in the writing of the song as well. So you need your radio stations will, so that the other through these organisations in Australia, and you need to speak to your station heads and the people that organise this there, because they will need to speak with them about, and should be able to tell you about what licence you have.
If you've got those two licenses, Steve,
yes.
Do you need to tell them anything when you post anything, or they will check it and then they got the
if the license allows for the use over
they
the
will know
internet,
that.
Then yeah.
If they check it, they know that you paid.
Yeah,
you're okay.
They should keep.
And we've had a bit of an issue once before, but if say Elvis Presley songs, for example, everyone likes to sing Elvis songs.
Yep.
These people, local Joe Harry down the street, has got an Elvis Presley CD that he's bought out, but it's him singing it. But it's not approved, like it's not APRA done or anything like that. And we're playing on the radio station. Is that allowed?
Okay, so there's copyright protection in the creation of the song, so not the recording. So you wouldn't need the license through PPCA, but you would AMCOS.
So really, we shouldn't be playing it.
Well, your station probably has on the radio. The next point there is that, so if you record it, you can play the show again, perfectly fine for 12 months. So if when you had a license in place for it, you've got to put it all back out there again. So if you a show is really popular and you want to play it a month later, or you did something about a person or an event, and that event becomes highly topical again 6 months later, you can bang it on again there, no problem. And the podcast, social media need separate licenses. Look, some of the questions also about donated music in your own CDs, perfectly fine. So you got the license is just for playing the music. So you can, if someone donates a whole lot of music to the station, no problem with playing that during your shows, or you've got if you bring them on there, it doesn't have to be stuff that's owned by the station. File sharing music, no, don't play file music. It's probably breached copyright in the sourcing of it.
What is that?
So,
what do you mean by file sharing music? What does that mean?
So people file share. So around the world, if they take copyrighted products, so music, videos, TV shows, movies, they put them out there on the internet and they share them globally. So the big one, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, Dallas Buyers Club. They tried to prosecute. They sued a lot of people, money for people that had illegally downloaded their movie and were playing it around. They took it to the courts here, and there was found that there were people breaching it, but the damages was, well, what I would have had to, if I did it, the damage for the movie was the dollars I might have, then it was people who used to go to DVD shops, and what I would have paid to actually hire the movie legitimately is what they would have got. Whereas in America, they could get pecuniary damages. So for them to do that.
Steve, just a quick one. Say we want to get the APRA video or songs or whatever. What sort of cost? Is it huge? Is it? No. It's not sound.
I don't even. I'm not aware with what you pay, what your radio station is paying for your
Sure.
Yeah. So couldn't do that.
I know in Brisbane we pay a huge amount for APRA license per year, but it covers for everything.
What is it? Huge amount?
It's over $2,000, I think.
How much? No, it's more. We pay about five.
It's well over
We pay
$2,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's what it was. There's some case studies. So this lady, Lee Madden, she was she did this called White Sands, and she created Lady Bathers, and she saw this that exactly the same as her design, the Bathers, and she posted on Facebook saying, "This is the most sincere form of flattery," and she basically bagged Sea Folly for doing so. And Sea Folly sued her for the design, and it was misleading, deceptive. But what the copyright was, she grabbed her here is their website and published it on Facebook next to hers. He successfully for 20, I think they got $25,000 off it. But she also countersued them because what they did, they came out in the media and they made this big media statement and denigrated her. And she, I think she ended up paying $1,000 against them.
Yeah.
So yeah. The copyright one. So 2011, there was the big rush to get music online. So Pandora had come out and they were doing, but they didn't have any of it. And they go and get all their rights agreements signed up and get all the authorities to do so, was going to put notice to get people on your platform. Afraid that everyone would jump. Spotify come out and people go, "No, I've already got. I'm not just that. We're just going to get any of the licenses." Them at $5 billion. One successful settlement already so far in May this year. They can. So they paid 55 million. I think we're at time, Russell.
What about YouTube? Is that part of the APRA?
So like get putting it through the radio broadcast. That's where you're at. Yeah, and then you do the airwaves. You're at. Right.
Is that the